It was almost midnight at the Central Hospital, and Nia struggled to keep her eyes open behind the reception desk. The silence of the night was broken by the sound of the automatic door opening. She lifted her gaze and saw a young woman staggering into the lobby, holding her abdomen and wearing an expression of pure fear. Nia's eyes widened. She quickly stood up and rushed to the woman, who was leaning against the wall, panting. "Please," the young woman whispered, her voice weak. "Help me." Nia gently held her shoulders and guided her to a chair. "Ma'am, are you okay? What happened?" The woman tried to catch her breath. "Please call the doctor," she asked, her voice trembling. "It's better if he sees for himself." Nia exchanged a worried look with the nurse nearby and quickly grabbed the phone to call Dr. Malik, the on-call doctor that night. Dr. Malik was reviewing patient charts in his office when the phone rang. He always kept calm, even in the most tense situations, but something in Nia's voice made his heart race. "Doctor, we have a patient here. She seems very upset and insists that you come immediately." Without hesitation, the doctor grabbed his stethoscope and left his office. When he arrived in the lobby, he saw the young woman sitting, pressing her hands against her stomach, her face pale with exhaustion and fear. He approached and spoke softly. "Hello, I'm Dr. Malik. Can you tell me what happened?" The woman looked at him, her eyes full of despair. "I can't explain. You need to see it with your own eyes." Her voice was almost a whisper. Dr. Malik nodded and helped her stand. "All right. Let's go to the exam room." Inside the room, he instructed her to lie down on the examination table. The patient trembled, her hands gripping the edge of the table tightly. "Take a deep breath." "What's your name?" the doctor asked. "Zahara, my name is Zahara," she answered hesitantly. Dr. Malik smiled reassuringly. "All right, Zahara. I'm going to examine you to understand what's going on. Where exactly are you feeling pain?" She hesitated before pointing to her lower abdomen. "Here, please, just look." When she pulled the fabric of her clothing aside, Dr. Malik took a step back, his professional demeanor faltering. His eyes widened in shock. What he saw defied medical understanding. Small albino creatures, beings that seemed a mix of monkeys and shadows, writhed under Zahara's skin, making low, strange noises. Zahara gripped the doctor's hand tightly, her eyes full of panic. "Doctor, please! I don't know what's happening to me. I just want this to stop." Dr. Malik took a deep breath, forcing himself to stay composed. He had handled countless medical emergencies, but nothing like this. "I'll do everything I can to help," he assured her, grabbing a syringe to administer a sedative. "But I need you to tell me everything you remember. When did this start?" Zahara wiped away tears, her voice trembling. "It's been about 5 days. First, it was a strange discomfort, then a weird smell. I tried to ignore it, but it just got worse." The doctor observed her closely. "Did you do anything different recently? Eat anything unusual? Take any new medications?" She shook her head. "No, nothing out of the ordinary." "What about your personal life? You mentioned you're a student. Do you live in a dormitory? Have you used shared bathrooms recently?" "No," Zahara replied quickly. "I live alone and I'm very careful with my hygiene." Dr. Malik hesitated before asking his next question. "Do you have a partner? Are you sexually active?" Zahara paused for a moment, avoiding his gaze. After a long sigh, she murmured, "Yes, a week ago, I was with someone. My boyfriend Idris." The doctor mentally took note of this information. The timeline made sense. The strange event had started shortly after her last interaction with Idris. "Zahara, I need you to tell me everything about Idris," he said, his voice heavy with concern. "Has anything changed with him recently? Anything strange?" She sighed, reluctant. "He changed. He was always caring and attentive, but lately, he started hanging out with different people. Men who seemed powerful. He started acting strange, like he was someone else." Dr. Malik felt a chill run down his spine. "Zahara, I need to ask you this. Do you think Idris could be involved in something unusual? She hesitated before answering. He always talked about wanting more from life, about escaping poverty. But I never saw him do anything strange. Her gaze shifted. Except, one night he came home different. His eyes looked empty, like he wasn't the same anymore. The doctor listened intently. He had heard stories of rituals and pacts, but never imagined he would encounter something like this in a hospital. I think we need to talk to Idris, he said finally. Zahara looked at him, scared. You want me to confront him? Not directly, Dr. Malik explained. I want you to call him and act normally. See if he says anything that might help us understand what's going on. Zahara took a deep breath before picking up the phone. Idris's number rang a few times before his voice came through the line. Zahara? I wasn't expecting a call from you. She swallowed hard, trying to keep her voice calm. Hi, Idris. I haven't been feeling too well lately. I wanted to know if you noticed anything strange. The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. What do you mean? He asked, his voice cold. Just, something started happening after we were together. Don't you think that's strange? More silence, followed by an empty laugh. Zahara, you're asking too many questions. Her heart raced. If there's something you're not telling me, please, I need to know. This time, Idris actually laughed, a bitter sound. All right. You want the truth? I needed a way out. You just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Zahara felt her blood run cold. What did you do to me, Idris? Nothing personal, Zahara. I just needed a sacrifice. Her hand trembled, and the phone fell to the floor. Her nightmare was just beginning. Angela still felt the weight of what she had lived through, but now, with the support of God, Pastor Elijah, and Dr. Eunice, she was being reborn. The pain that once consumed her seemed to have dissipated, but the memories of her betrayal and the evil that almost destroyed her still haunted her. However, peace was beginning to return, like a soothing balm covering her soul. On a sunny Tuesday afternoon, Angela finally decided to return to church. Pastor Elijah had insisted that faith needed to be nourished, and she was ready to seek her inner healing with the same intensity she had sought her salvation. She didn't know what the future held for her, but now, she had a renewed purpose. Upon arriving at the church, Pastor Elijah was waiting for her, a welcoming smile on his face. Angela, you're glowing today, he said, noticing the light that seemed to shine in her eyes. I am Pastor, she replied, feeling a peace that had once seemed impossible. The pain no longer controls me. I'm learning to reconnect with my faith, and each day has been a step toward healing. As she sat down with the pastor, she remembered something important. That evil, that dark force that had nearly destroyed her, was still there, lurking. Even though she had been physically freed, she knew the spiritual battle was far from over. Something in her heart told her that despite her victory over Williams, there was still much to be done to preserve her freedom. The next day, Angela returned to college. At first, everything seemed normal, but a strange sense of unease accompanied her. She had rebuilt her life, but she knew that her strength didn't come from self-confidence alone, but from her trust in God. She began to study more about the nature of evil, hoping it would help her prevent something like what she had experienced from happening again. In her research, Angela found something surprising, an ancient prophecy that spoke of a cycle of darkness, a cycle that could only be interrupted by a pure enough soul to resist the evil. She thought about her experience with Williams and wondered if, in some way, she had been that pure soul, chosen to break that cycle. But as Angela searched for answers, the sound of her home phone interrupted her thoughts. It was a message from Dr. Eunice. The message simply said, Angela, Williams is back. Not as he was, but as something different. He's looking for you. With her heart pounding, Angela sought answers. She knew her journey wasn't over and that the fight against the darkness might be longer than she had imagined. Now, with the shadow of William still looming over her, Angela would need all the spiritual strength she had gained to face what was to come. Without wasting time, she went to the hospital where Dr. Eunice worked. When she arrived, he greeted her with a serious look. "Angela, there's something strange going on with Williams. He's been transferred to a psychiatric hospital, but something is wrong. Something is controlling him, stronger than before." "I know, Dr. Eunice. He's not the same person anymore. Something else is inside him. I don't know what it is, but I feel it." Angela could feel the chills running down her spine. Dr. Eunice sighed. "I fear he's been consumed by an evil greater than we thought. If he manages to break free of this control, he'll be a threat to everyone." Angela knew there was no time to lose. She and Dr. Eunice would need to act quickly. They began to plan a way to get to the psychiatric hospital, but Angela knew that the evil Williams carried wouldn't be easy to defeat. And now, she wondered, was the real battle just beginning? What lay ahead would be a fight against forces darker and more powerful than anyone could imagine. A battle that would not only affect Angela's fate, but the fate of everyone around her.